Here.
It's there.
She could just a little tidbit.
We're on Zoom.
Okay,
Yes, we're on Zoom.
Just a little form and then these are soon.
I think that's between 5:45 and 6:15.
So. Very important to have pizza.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you. I but my eyes started watering and I walked in, my mascara was very dark today.
You look great.
We do what we can. We have really, I don't know what to say about this, but like, we have not done anything. Like, being information out to the community about like how to protect our neighbors. Haven't said anything about what's going on.
No, that's not the rate. Even if it's just posting what Hugo is doing.
I mean, it's it's, I take responsibility, like I see things, I'm like, oh, we should post that, and then I just don't do it.
I think you take responsibility. I think we just better so.
Yes, it's heartbreaking. I was. Over to Dodger Stadium about that.
I mean, Dodgers is so quiet.
Dodgers really. They'll love this one.
I'll be should take them now. Over here. Oh, no. They're locked in. You remember last time? Yep.
So do you guys where you're sitting?
No.
Open if you want to.
We don't. This is the cool kids table.
We're just okay over here.
All right.
Any crazy like.
Let me check the minutes. Should be really good at that. Oh wait, the minutes are not posted, so you could not have read them. Does this look like MER is posted?
But also like, I never when Alina asked for the agenda items, like, no, I should have done like it was to like acknowledge. Say something.
Well, what we could have done is put on the agenda resolution. It's easy. I'd still think about the details, I was like, hang on, like what I have to say. Yeah, I think it's. What I'm doing now, that actually kind of married to my next. So. That's. So, and I've seen, and I think that's.
One of the representatives that was there.
He's like, we're brothers.
I don't remember. I call those. That one.
I'm like,
Hollywood Hills.
Happy that everyone's this, or I'm in receiver.
Area three.
I kind of do both. And then
Like, you know, just talk about the cars and all that, or like, you know, just seeing what's going on in the city. And I was signed up for like Hollywood Hills. They said, Hollywood Hills election. I was like, election. And I was like,
like India. Gandhi time. And I can do one more. And then he came and I got
20.5, and then we will have join us on this side of the table. Sorry, I don't keep you up because this is going to your Yeah, you can skip out whenever you skip out. Sorry.
I didn't see that.
Yes, some said there too. I know. So, I just. So that's nice. You know, I just applied.
This ain't even that's next.
And I do that. So she's not
Nothing on the fly. Make it fly. I was like,
you know, because like what we have a parade. Just this past Saturday we had.
It was like, had something.
Like,
I don't want to cake like.
And the rest, be like, no.
She's not on the board. My son said. Okay, great. Sounds good. I don't know. Yes. Okay, cool. And sunshine. Not waiting, like they are not. Hi, Michael.
Does someone mind running the Zoom this meeting?
I can try. I give it a solid yes. But who can recommend minutes at the same time? Is that you too?
I can recommend minutes.
Okay, because I think it's one or the other. Okay. Thank you. And I'll just take that. Wi-Fi password, and then I don't think there's a password. Right? Again. Might just correct. Just let me know actually, and then like tell each other. Is it recording? Not yet. Where's the mouse?
Oh, there we go.
The TV is extending to like this area of the laptop. So if you move the mouse past the right side of the screen, it shows up there.
Oh, I see what you, okay. Solid. Am I gonna do agenda? Do that kind of too?
Oh, like scroll down, yeah.
If you want to scroll the agenda, you can. It's not critical.
Okay. Oh, I see. Okay. Good.
Just the coordination. Coordination thing, yeah. Should be, start, you got this, right? So as far as like, we'll start with that. Yes. And I think I have the word down. Okay.
Does it? Oh, my logged in. Password.
You might have saved it. You have an
Password? No, mine's saved too.
It was just.
I thought it was. City.
She's in the HDC. She said this one.
I'm in City.
Oh.
I don't know.
I'll get
I didn't get a password. There's no.
City of LA, yes, is the one I.
Yeah, it's got spot.
I don't know.
Okay.
The Zoom is on, or the TV is on the LAPD one.
Okay. Should we start?
Okay, we start.
You got it up on your screen? Okay. So now you gotta click record before we can get started.
Okay.
Yeah. Recording. It's recording. Okay, wonderful. Charles is not, Naya is not, Sunshine is not, Tamara,
Present.
Daniel S is not, Crystal, present, and Mike. Great. We have quorum is 5. So we will move on to the consent calendar, just a real quick, controversial portion of the agenda. And this is just the approval of the May board minutes last month and the MER stand for the monthly expenditure report, just like how much money we got. So, motion to approve consent calendar.
Neither posted it.
Motion to not approve the consent calendar. Okay. Well, secretary did not post and treasurer did not post, so therefore we cannot vote on the consent calendar today. Moving on, no special orders, and we'll go on to the elected officials in the departments. So we're gonna, start with you, since you're here. I mean, I don't know, happy Monday to everybody, I don't know. Do you want to wait, or I mean? You're fine, okay. Sorry, someone's knocking? Yeah, please, sounds like a great deal, huh? I'm really trying to get into the meeting. I know, I kept the back one open. Okay, so do we have, any government representatives online? You can mark Sunshine as President Tamara as N15. Okay, so, let's see, I see Samantha, where's this mouse? Oh, the other screen. You wanna help? Just Samantha, if you give Samantha, the option to speak, and then on Anais, you can go afterwards. Okay, there you go. Okay. So you wanna go with Samantha? Yeah, click allow to speak. Hi, Samantha.
Hi, everyone. This is Sam Gagos from Senator Allen's office. How are you?
Good. Thank you for being here virtually.
Of course. Yes, sorry, I couldn't make the drive today. It's been pretty long, but I'm happy to Zoom option and happy to be here. Some quick updates from Senator Allen's office. Just a quick statewide update. California's Sunbucks program has started. Sunbucks, for those who do not know, provides $120 for eligible children. This is similar to an EBT card. It's supposed to supplement children who are unable to receive school lunches and depend on school lunches and food for their meals. There's a certain demographic of students who are already enrolled. This is foster youth under the age of, I believe, 20, students who receive Medi-Cal, students who already get free or reduced lunch at school. Those students should be automatically enrolled. There's a couple demographic students who do need to apply, but the application date is September 2nd. And so Vina, I'll make sure to forward you those flyers to distribute to the community. It's a great resource, and it's per student. So if there's two students who are eligible in a household, each student gets $120 for a total of 440 or 240. There we go. Do math, I promise. So it's per student. Next, Senator Allen's specific updates. And since our last meeting, all of our bills have been voted on the Senate floor, and 15 out of 21 of the bills Senator Allen introduced has crossed, which means additional state senators have voted to pass the bill and is now in the other house, in the Assembly. That's including our SB 6882, which is our PFAS bill. This bill will phase out forever chemicals, I believe, let's see if I have the number here. I think it's 2033, yes. And another bill that has crossed that we're excited about is our SB 630, which is our film and TV tax credit bill. So both of those bills are in the Assembly, and we're excited to see how they move forward. Another quick update. I mentioned this during the last time we spoke. But Senator Allen, Assembly Member Irwin, and Supervisor Horvath had a webinar regarding Zone Zero and the new high fire severity zone maps. and all that fun stuff. It was very informative. We had a chance to answer some questions from community. And if you were unable to attend that, you can find it on Assemblymember Irwin's YouTube page. You can also go to Senator Allen's website, and on our homepage, scroll to the very bottom, and the YouTube link can be on there. So if you have any questions beyond that, make sure to email me or someone from our team can make sure to answer those. Those are my updates. Let me know if anyone has any questions.
Okay, any questions? Any questions for Ben Allen's office, the senator? Any questions from the audience? Any questions online? I see hands up, but I think they were up before you came up, Samantha, so. Sure. I just want to ask, but, I don't know.
Yes,
Question for Ben Allen?
absolutely, yes. Anytime my hand's up, ask, please. My question is, okay, I am, I want to know if the senator would be willing to sponsor a bill that would not allow, any kind of, what do you call it, like exemptions for people who are working on the streets. Okay, there's a law already in the public that you cannot work on public works things as slave labor, okay? But they do, and so I need to, so there's like some kind of religious exemption for them. There should be no religious exemption or any kind of exemption. If somebody is working on a street, they should be paid, anyone by the law, minimum wage. So I want you to get rid of the religious exemptions.
Okay,
Thank you. A religious exemption, you said?
Yes, because the people who are making $47 a week and working 100 hours a week on Scientology, they are working on their public streets, they are cleaning the streets, when they work on them, they work on them.
I think that's time.
Okay, well, if you ask me a question, I'm answering a question.
I understand, just because can't go back and forth, it's just a question, so.
We're taking a note, and I'll see if I have an update for you.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, another hand up.
This meeting is being recorded.
Question for Ben Allen's office?
Can you hear me?
Okay, please go ahead, you have 1 minute.
Yeah, so I just, the question I had too is on what checks and balances there are for organizations that might have a religious designation, and whether there is any verification on whether those institutions are meeting any labor laws, if they are trying to skirt the laws on not meeting any Department of Labor or other fair and equitable labor rates, either fair market or at the very least above the poverty line, or meeting federal minimum wage. As audit said, there are in fact institutions that are of religious designation that do that currently. And I just want to make sure your bill has that as a verification step to make sure that everybody gets treated equally under the color of the law. So I think that's important, and I think you should take into consideration. I just am curious to see what checks and balances you have.
Alrighty, this is the first time that it's come on my radar. I'll reach out to our labor deputy up at our capital office to see if there's something that they've already familiarized with. Thank you for the context.
Question, Jill, Senator.
Yes, I'm gonna just hi. I'm just gonna reiterate what Ella had said. I'm just gonna ditto everything that you said. We have to get rid of allowing religions or cults or anybody to skirt the laws that we cannot skirt, nor other corporations skirt. Everybody has to follow laws. Scientology cannot get a pass for using slave labor. And sometimes they use children labor, child labor. I'm sure the senator would want his child doing slave labor for a cult. That's all. Thank you.
That concludes those questions. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, so next up we got Anais. Anais is the CD 13, this council just in. Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I'm back, Alexis. That's all I have to do is say something.
Oh my gosh, sorry.
Now you can put it back on.
Okay, all right, sorry, Anais, go ahead.
Hi everyone, apologies for making it on time. I had to come and do some personal back at home. Let me see, there's a lot obviously going on in the district and in the city of LA. Council District 13 did have a big ice raid last Thursday on Juneteenth. It's out of the jurisdiction of CHNC, but everyone in Hollywood was, calling and asking questions. As I mentioned, we had our first ice raid at St. Andrews and Sunset. ICE agents probably got there around as early as like 7:20. We're approximately there 30 minutes. They detained sort of the street vendors and some of the day laborers and two folks from a construction site. They did detain a U.S. citizen who has been released. So, our office continues to monitor either myself or one of our deputies in the area. We do go outside and sort of assess and confirm if there is ice age, if there's not. The one that happened on Juneteenth, unfortunately, since it was a holiday, a lot of our folks who ended up going sort of went after the ICE agents were there, but the council member went out and was out there with some of those folks that saw it and witnesses. It actually does happen that one of the folks who got detained was a U.S. citizen, is a constituent of City 13. And so, we're, as I mentioned, we're monitoring all of this. So, our office is taking sort of these things we do for business owners and small business owners. We do want to remind you, it is a private property. And so you are in jurisdiction to tell ICE not to come onto your private property. For folks who are detained, if you have folks who are asking, please kindly remind them that they have the right to not give their name, to not sign any papers once inside detention center. Part of the reason, because of all of this that has sort of really put up a big tick, is our office is going to have a community resource fair, immigration resource fair. We are partnering up with UCLA law students and lawyers, where folks would be able to go ask questions to these lawyers. Ideally, they won't be able. It's more about folks coming in and asking questions. There's a lot of uncertainty. A lot of families have questions about their legal status, or people that they know have questions about their legal status. And so the purpose of this immigration/community resource fair is that our folks leave knowing, having knowledge, right? And, we're going to have lawyers there that would help with that. And so I'll share the flyer with everybody, with Alvina and the team here, so you can share with your folks. And if you folks want to participate, table, please let me know. I will be sending out an email for tabling registrations as well. It will be, this immigration/resource fair will be scheduled for July 19th. And it would be at Lemon Grove Park. And it would be from 11 a.m. I think to 2 p.m. and then setup would be around 10. We are taking precautions of ensuring the safety for a lot of the attendees. So we'll be partnering up with a lot of our immigrant organizations where we could have a rapid, sort of folks just kind of staking out and ensure that safety for a lot of our people attending. Council risk. This is the last week of council before it goes into recess, and I think they will be returning back to council sort of the end of the month. I'm trying to see, but at this moment, a lot of that are my updates.
Where is the resource fair taking place?
It would take place at Lemon Grove Park. So it's the border. It's a park that borders East Hollywood and our Hollywood and Hollywood area.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, any questions from the board for CD 13? Is that Samers? Hey, Charles. Samara G. Mark, Charles, attendance at the Samers at 6:20. Anyone from the audience? Online, I see one hand. Please take a minute.
This meeting is being recorded.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
So I just want to ask, right, the council member, I understand and appreciate some of the efforts as it relates to the actual federal agents, but what is the council member actually doing when it regards something they do have jurisdiction over, which is local law enforcement absolutely brutalizing anybody that's a member of the press that was actually there covering what was going on? I got shot at several times doing nothing but filming what was going on. If it wasn't for one particular officer that I have very good relations with, if it wasn't for that one guy, I guarantee they would have absolutely destroyed me, just like they did this one woman who was utterly stomped on by a horse-mounted cop who was already backing away. So I'm just curious on what the council member specifically is doing about something they do have jurisdiction over, which is the brutalization of the law enforcement by LAPD overreacting and actually antagonizing and deliberately overreacting and instigating situations over at the ICE protest so far. Would love to hear more about that.
Yes, no, all the council members are well aware of sort of these issues that are bringing it up. Please don't quote me, but I do believe that Monica Rodriguez from CD7 did put in a motion about police accountability the language right now, I don't have it on me, but it is about investigating sort of these things that you are talking about. And so I would recommend, reaching out to their office as well and asking exactly what their motion is asking and pushing forward with. In regards to our office, those issues that you mentioned, there are discussions about it, but as I mentioned, I'm on the field level, so that would fall onto the legislative side. So please feel free to email me, and then I will make sure those comments fall onto our ledge team. So just want to put it out there. A lot of those things that you are mentioning about police accountability, the resources and all that, it is a conversation that the council members are having more internally, of course. But I do want to say that, they're all aware, everybody's aware about this. And I think it's more of people are working and looking into it.
This is Nai. She's one of our board members. She's absent but here. Hi, Nai. Did you have a question for CD13? Yeah.
Oh, no, I didn't. My bad. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries. No worries. I'll just kind of keep you on. If you mute yourself, you can jump in here and there. Okay, so we have another hand that's up. Auditor LA for up to 1 minute, please.
Yes, hi. And as much as I detest what they're doing against people who are just trying to live a life and everything. So, but what I am concerned about, on the other hand, is instead of focusing on that, I wish they would be focusing on people who are labor trafficked from different countries and trafficked. Like, I'm here to discuss Scientology. I know people who could not leave because they hold their documents. What if you have somebody that would like to go back home and they can't and you guys are never going to go check to see wellness checks and see whether you're never going to just go and say, well, let's see if they're holding your documents and see if these victims are correct. So as much as I don't want them going in the streets and doing these raids, I think it's horrible. I do want people who are being trafficked, sex trafficked, labor trafficked, religious trafficked, whatever kind of trafficked, and their documents held against their will. I would like to see them have access to help. So is there any way you can find that balance and maybe redirect them and suggest, hey,
it's 1 minute.
Thank you.
Obviously I'm not a law enforcement, so I'm not gonna be able to speak about their laws and sex trafficking things. In my experience dealing with folks who don't have paperwork and documents, and if they aren't documented, a lot of the times what immigration lawyers do is that they reach out to the consulate from the country that they're in and hope to see if they can get, whether that is a identification from the foreign-born country that they were born in, a passport, anything like that. So that's pretty much all I could really tell you. In sort of instances of like folks who do not have documents on them, a lot of the times their representative, whether they have a lawyer or anything, reach out to the consulates that they are born into.
I see no other hands on these, so maybe just hang out in case
Yeah,
something.
that's fine. That's fine, Elvina. I'm here.
Thank you. Okay, so next up, we have Mandy from Lindsay Horvath, County Supervisor Lindsay Horvath's office. Please provide us with your report and allow talk. Okay, cool. Here we go. Hi, Mandy.
Nice to see everybody. I'll give you a couple of updates from our office. I know we've probably talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it all summer long because the public comment period is now open for the Sepulveda Transit Corridor project. And we are very anxious to hear what everybody says about this project and what all of our community's opinions are on which option that you prefer and why. So please make it a point to submit a comment, come to a meeting. There's one tomorrow night in Westwood at the Westwood United Methodist Church where Metro's going to do a presentation.
Can you remind us what that is? Crystal was asking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So the Sepulveda Transit West Side. So it's like, and taking, it would run from like, I think Sherman Oaks down to Westwood, basically is what it is. And so we're trying to address some of the congestion on the 405, the fact that we have so many people that commute to UCLA and other parts of the West Side. UCLA is one of the county's biggest employers. And so we're looking for opinions on that particular project. Yeah, so if you are interested in going to a meeting, there's one tomorrow night in Westwood at Westwood United Methodist Church. I think it's 6 o'clock. And then I can also direct you guys how to submit comments online on Metro's website. And then if you ever want me to bring someone out to talk about it, I'm more than happy to do that. Maybe to fill you in a little bit more on the project. So there's that. And then also Metro related. We opened up a park and ride at Sylmar to bring people from the Valley to Hollywood, to the Hollywood Bowl. So it's a park and ride that operates on select concert nights and offers a seamless travel experience from the Northeast Valley to the Hollywood Bowl. Riders can reserve spots in advance and avoid the hassle of traffic and parking, which is really great because then we're bringing in more people from other parts of the district and helping out, also like hopefully helping out people to patronize Hollywood's small businesses. You can also experience the Hollywood Bowl for just $1 this summer. They're exclusive for community members. It's hollywoodbowl.com and use promo code, and I'll send this so you have it. Use promo code D4H8 and it's 4 tickets per household, but for $1, that's pretty great for the Hollywood Bowl. We also passed a motion by Supervisor Horvath and Supervisor Mitchell to create a specialized countywide program to support young children in foster care and their families. The program, known as Young Children in Care Birth to 5 program, aims to deliver trauma-informed, developmentally appropriate services to the county's youngest and most vulnerable children. Through this program, DCFS has already developed a first-in-the-nation policy, launched staff training cohorts, and laid the groundwork for specialized consultation framework. The next step is providing these promising efforts into a comprehensive program available countywide. And we'll get a report back on that and recommendations to the board in 120 days. The Board of Supervisors also officially affirmed its support last week for an assembly bill aimed at ensuring in-state tuition rates for deported community college students. Assembly Bill 695 was introduced in February by Assembly Member Mike Fong from Alhambra. And the board just wanted to affirm that, according to the motion, an estimated 100,000 college students live in California without permanent legal status, and about 3.3 million Californians live in mixed status households. The Los Angeles Community College District is the largest in the nation, providing resources like legal services and financial aid to undocumented students. The bill would ensure that deported community college students can continue their education virtually while maintaining in-state tuition eligibility and retaining resident status for tuition purposes upon their legal return to the U.S. And on the immigration issue, the supervisor shared the following statement on social media. The ICE raids are an attack of cruelty and bigotry targeting our immigrant neighbors and tearing families apart. These actions are designed to instill fear in communities of color, but we will not be intimidated and we will not be silent. I am in direct communication with county, state, and community leaders to ensure that all available protections from LA County are activated immediately. We must remain vigilant, we must protect one another, and above all, we must stand together. I also have an immigrant, and I couldn't be here in person tonight because I actually got sick, so I apologize, but I can send it to you. We have an actual immigrant resources guide that our East San Fernando Valley office put together that I can share to you, or share with you if you want to share it with any of your board members or any community members, and I'll email that over to Elvina. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was on homelessness and housing. The board passed supervisor's motion to ensure a strong collaborative partnership with the city of Los Angeles on joint homelessness response as LA County creates its department dedicated to addressing homelessness. I know in the past that I talked about the county, or the department that the county was creating to consolidate our homeless departments and then also to pull our money out of LAHSA. Everybody was a little bit panicked that meant we were just going to abandon the city, but definitely we're not abandoning the city. We still want to be in partnership with them. And so we wanted to pass this motion to solidify that. The motion directs the county's chief executive officer to initiate a series of meetings with the city's chief administrative officer, legislative analyst, and housing department, and to engage with the mayor's office and city council to align on the formation of the new county homelessness services department. And I think that's it for me. I know it was a lot. Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, sunshine. Oh, sorry. Casey goes first.
Sure. Hey, how you doing? Good to hear you. Thanks so much for coming and shedding light on what's cooking.
Yeah.
My question is, you guys are completely powerless to get someone out once they're in the system. Same thing goes for CD13.
Which system?
Like, I mean, I have a friend, he went to go check in because he had to go do a check-in, and they took him away from his family, the whole entire shebang, you know?
You're talking about immigration.
Yeah, once they're in there, you guys can't do nothing for nobody. Or can you? Like, if we're like, we have a good case for somebody who's a pastor and he's like a member of the church, and like they took him because whatever filing, and they're gonna send him to Ukraine on top of that. They're gonna send him to war right now. So I'm just anxious about that. Like, is there anything that?
Gotcha. Yeah. So I can share, does the chat feature work? I can't do anything to the chat feature. I can share our immigrant resource site. I can share it with Elvina and I can have her send it to you. There's some numbers in there you can call, including our Office of Immigrant Affairs. So we can definitely help connect you to some resources. Our office directly isn't involved in immigration cases, but we can definitely direct you to resources that can help.
Okay, that's that's much you can do. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'll please have that.
Yeah.
Charles is like,
Thanks for being here. Sounds like you're a little bit under the weather, so
yeah,
thanks for taking time to visit with us. So you had mentioned about the alleviating traffic on the 405. And I'm just wondering, after today, where the 405 was closed for about 8 hours, I'm just wondering, what are the what might be some, I guess, short term? I mean, when those types of situations happen, what's the county's kind of idea or way to try to alleviate some of the pressure? The only reason I ask is I was coming from the Van Nuys Flyway this morning to my apartment. And all of the traffic that would be on the 405, of course, is on the 101 and the 170 and things like that.
Yeah.
So just curious.
I think so it's Caltrans that actually controls the actual like 405 freeways. So that could be a question that we would need to direct to Caltrans. But in the case of today, I mean, I don't think like that, that was that police officer that was killed. That was they had to shut down the freeway for his investigation and his funeral and everything. And so that was like sort of like a one-off. And I know that shut down a lot of traffic for a lot of places in the city. But in that kind of situation, just besides like diverting people to surface streets and other freeways, there really isn't anything else you can do. But if we had transit on the Sepulveda transit corridor, that's a different thing, right? Because then everybody could jump on the heavy rail or the monorail or whatever option it is that they pick to get from point A to point B a lot faster or to alleviate some of that traffic. So there really isn't in one-off situations like that, there isn't anything else you can do except just to divert to other streets and freeways.
Good point.
Yeah.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Can you repeat the promo code for the discounted Hollywood Bowl tickets?
Yes, it is. Hold on 1 second. I just lost it. It is capital D, the number 4, capital H, capital B like boy, and then dollar spelled out, DOLLAR.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and then I also, back in my office too, and I can bring them to the next meeting. If anybody wants some, let me know. I have free parking passes for the Getty. You know, the Getty, it's $25 to park, but it's free to go inside. And so sometimes that parking cost is prohibitive, but I can bring
cool.
some.
How many of those do you have? Yeah, I would love one. Yeah.
No, I have, I think they gave us like 100 per office. So I can definitely bring them. Yeah.
Cool. So just for friends and family or people at the meeting. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
So any other questions in person before we go online? I see hands. Okay, so we're just gonna ask for a minute from Audit LA. Go ahead.
Yes, hi. I would like your boss in your office to look into two cases. The first one is Haney versus Church of Scientology in Florida, and the other one is Jane Doe versus Gavin Potter here in California. One's a child bride case, the one in California. Yes, I did say child bride. The other one is the civilian RICO. Yes, civilian RICO. The one in Florida. My contention is that until these are adjudicated, and if they, until and they are cleared, the Church of Scientology members do not belong on any kind of board or anything like that, whether it's CPAB, anything county-wise or anything. They should not be in good standing. So I'm asking you to please look into those cases and not let them be in standing until they are.
We can send the cases and the concerns to the district attorney's office, and then we can also, through our state partners, send them to the state attorney general's office.
This meeting is being recorded.
So I just want to back some of the statements made up by Audit, and I want to expand on that. I personally sat there at the Judge O'Carter trial hearings where the city is being sued for massive deliberate fraud over homelessness funds that really has nothing to do with particularly just Karen Bass. It's been a decades-long issue. But my question is, right, what are you going to do for all the victims that many of which are coming to me and giving me their stories, right? Giving me their stories on how their identities are being used to commit credit card fraud by staffers at LAHSA and elsewhere, by staffers at Inside Safe. People are telling me how they're losing friends because they're not getting the housing that they're promised, right? And the only thing preventing me at this point from actually representing all these people is simply having a California bar license, which at some point I will do. But I want to know, right, what's your office's stance in regarding all of the great testimony where the city outright admitted they're colluding to commit billion, close to $1 trillion fraud with all the homelessness spending going on in LA. What is your office stance on that? The people have a right to know, and so do all the people that keep coming to me with their absolutely tragic stories that have been committed by the hands of LAHSA, by some of the other members in the county board supervisors.
Gotcha. I'm from the county, not the city, so I can't really comment on behalf of the city, but I can stress again that the supervisor did raise the motion and did successfully get a county department created to consolidate all of the we had so many hands in homelessness at the county, and she wanted to consolidate them all down into one department and focus on what actually works. And that's our homelessness initiative at the county. And also for the budget purposes, because we were also very upset at the fact that there was all this unaccounted for money, and that when our auditor controller's office did an audit, everything came back. And that was very upsetting. And so now with the passage of Measure G, and this new county department, you will be able to see its budget in public budget hearings every year. So if you have things that you want to report to me that I can definitely run it up the chain in our office, and then again, the district attorney's office, the state attorney general's office. But as far as what's happening at the city with their involvement and everything there with the funds that are spent, I really can't comment for the city because I don't work for the city.
Well, thank you, Mandy. Stick around if you'd like. We're going to hear now, from Maria. Come on up to the front here. I know you haven't seen anyone do this yet, but that's so Maria works in Congresswoman Laura Friedman's office. I got a chance to sit down with our Congresswoman. I had actually known her during her assembly member years, and then she took Adam Schiff's seat which is an honor, big shoes to fill, but she'll do great. She already is. And this is Maria. And please introduce yourself to everyone else.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you for that very warm introduction. Very nice to see you, especially considering this is your last meeting.
Best way to end it with you.
Really, thank you.
Thank you.
So again, my name is Maria Sosian. I'm the Director of Community Engagement for Congressmember Laura Friedman. Along with the rest of our team, I joined the Congresswoman's office in January. So it's been 6 months of crazy since you can imagine. I'm going to just give some introductory remarks, talk about the Congresswoman's committee roles in DC, et cetera, and then talk about the district as well. So again, I'm really happy to be here. So I also want to say that I am familiar with the work that you are all doing here. I myself was on the Noma Neighborhood Council for 6 years. I served as president for 4 of those years and actually resigned last month. So yeah, so it's very recent. So thank you for what you do. It's often thankless work, but very, very, very important work, especially right now in the city, the state, and also the entire country, given where we're at. So first, I want to highlight that the Congressmember hosted a town hall at Los Angeles Community College to hear directly from constituents and has also attended several other forums to answer questions and give an update on all that's happening in Washington, D.C. Just last week, she joined a community discussion hosted by the Los Feliz Improvement Association and took questions about ongoing developments related to the president sending the National Guard and the Marines to Los Angeles, also questions about her work fighting for unconditional disaster aid, and also fighting back against Republican attempts to cut Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security. She also met with members of the Hollywood Chamber of Commerce to discuss top-of-mind issues concerning local business owners. These topics included working on the National Film Tax Credit, efforts to make housing more affordable, combating homelessness, and how tourism will be impacted by the Trump administration's immigration policies. In DC, the Congresswoman serves on the House committees on transportation and infrastructure, as well as science, space, and technology. As you know from her assembly days, she is very passionate about anything related to planning, land use, transportation. So it's great that she has the opportunity to continue that work in DC. She is very focused right now on standing up to the Trump administration's assault on hardworking families and lowering costs across the board. This is for housing, for healthcare, energy, and more. Through her work on T&I, she also has direct oversight of FEMA, which enables her to effectively support our community during the recovery from the recent devastating wildfires. She is leading bipartisan legislation actually called the Don't Penalize Victims Act to ensure that charitable donations like those from GoFundMe campaigns or churches do not disqualify wildfire victims from receiving FEMA benefits. That is a huge issue. And so this is something that she has support for and co-signers from both sides of the aisle. She's also actively working to safeguard our air and soil from hazardous fire-related contaminants. As I mentioned earlier, she's also focused on defending vital programs, which include Medi-Cal, Social Security, and Veterans Healthcare, as Republicans propose severe cuts to these programs through their big, beautiful bill. The bill that passed through the House on a 215 to 214 party line vote could cut healthcare for more than 10 million Americans nationwide, and that includes 1 million Californians. In our district alone, the 30th congressional district, 25,000 people would lose their Medicaid coverage, and with it, access to life-saving care, which is a huge, huge problem. Recognizing this urgency, the Congressmember recently announced the designation of a Medicaid response specialist in our district office, and this is a caseworker who's available to help constituents navigate Medicaid in order to provide answers within days rather than months. This Republican budget proposal would also drastically reduce federal nutrition funding, which would leave millions of children and families struggling to put food on the table. The bill also increases the national debt by $2.5 trillion, all to pay for tax cuts for billionaires, as we know. The representative voted against the bill when it came before the House and will continue to oppose any federal budget that includes harmful cuts such as these. Just so everyone is aware, our district office is based in Burbank. Since January, the office has solved more than 650 constituent cases. We've delivered hundreds of thousands of dollars back into constituent wallets and responded to more than 60,000 constituent inquiries. So we receive inquiries online, over the phone, through our web form, through email. And we receive them very frequently. We've got a very active, engaged, and mobilized constituency, which we are very grateful for. That's everyone in this room. So If anyone has any issues that they'd like addressed with federal agencies, or if you just want to call because or send a message voicing support or opposition to something that is happening in DC, please feel free to do so. You know, you can call every day if you'd like. You can submit a web form every single day. You can, you know, tell everyone in your household to do so too. The Congress member receives all this information, and it is important because it informs her of what our constituents' priorities are, what their top concerns are. I have business cards with me that I will leave wherever you'd like me to leave, but if it's helpful to also give it to you to maybe put it in the chat so everyone has my contact information. We do have a field team, a fairly small field team, of which I am a part of. We're trying to, I think we have about 15 neighborhood councils in our district. So we're trying to make sure that we go to as many as we possibly can. If you don't see me next time, you might see one of our field representatives, but we'll be in touch with you, as Eric, I believe, has been in touch with you before, just to let you know what we'll be attending. If you'd like to stay informed about the Congress members' actions in DC, you know, statements that she's releasing, you can go on our website, friedman.house.gov. That's FRIEDMAN.house.gov, but you can also follow her on social media.
I have a question. On the Legislative Action Committee later on, there's like a HUD, I don't know if you saw it on the agenda, there's like a HUD related emergency housing voucher. I think it's like federally funded. Do you know anything about that and the loss of it and anything about it?
So HUD has had a significant amount of their funding cut. And the future of funding for HUD and for Section 8 in general is up in the air. I can definitely look into that specific.
Something up where like shared housing should be considered a voucher. I remember that. And so I kind of brought it here. So it's also great that you're here. So I can kind of maybe remind you of that conversation. And I understand that was not the best time because of the funding cuts.
Well, I mean, it actually is the best time in a way because that is something that is potentially included in those funding cuts.
Okay, well, maybe we could continue that conversation from that time.
Absolutely, we should definitely.
Thank you so much. And if you all don't know what I'm talking about, I'll go into it further in the agenda under the legislative action. Yes, questions for Congresswoman? Any questions? Anyone in the audience has any questions? Anyone online? Okay, let's go with Audit LA for 1 minute, please. Okay.
Oh my God, Maria, now I wish I was in person. So proud of you. Yeah, we know each other. You know who I am. Maria, I need to talk because we before before she became the Congresswoman, we talked to her about a Serge Obolinski law. There's a lot to talk. I can't really talk about it in 1 minute. She was going to put it off for the person taking over for her, but it's something I would love to look at a federal level as well. There's a lot more I'd like to talk about it. So, you know, will you give me a minute to talk to you sometime soon?
Certainly. Yes, of course.
All right. It's good seeing you there. I wish I was in person, man.
Okay.
All right.
So, next question is from
Henry.
This meeting is being recorded.
So just to piggyback off of what Audit said, some of the comments that I hope Audit relays over to you are actually pertaining to a case that I beat against the city attorney over selective and malicious prosecution. And I'd love to just hear, at the very least, get a time to chat with you as well. Maybe Audit can loop me in on that correspondence. But long story short, it was such a clear and easy case. I have absolute evidence showing that the city attorney prosecuted me as a political favor to Scientology. I even have her on a recording admitting that she did as such. And yeah, would just love to get in touch sometime. I've written to your office already before with some of my pleadings. And yeah, I mean, it's such a textbook case of the Bain Act violation and very clear pretext to RICO. But like I said, when you loop in Audit with your correspondence, hopefully Audit can loop me into. And like I said, City Attorney Heidi Soto failed to maliciously prosecute me, but she did it anyway. I beat the case, and she did it as a favor to Scientology. So here we are.
How much time do I have, Alvina?
As much as you want.
Okay.
You just have a minute.
Can you spell your first name and last name for me if you're comfortable doing that? Or would you, if you
Oh, yeah.
This meeting is being recorded.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe
absolutely.
by email is.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so her information, what's her, can you call it, say your card? Can you?
Yes, it's my first name, Maria .SOSYAN @mail.house.gov.
I think that'd be best for the sake of time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, so I see no other hands, so that will conclude the Q&A. But thank you, Maria. Please hang out, especially during that hard work. Thank you.
I'm sorry I don't come here.
No, it's fine. Sometimes it's just a trek. Okay, so that will conclude, unless there's anyone else here, like I know we don't have LAPD, we don't have assembly, we don't have mayor, so unless I'm mistaken of somebody on their personal device or something, please let me know, or we will go on in the agenda. Okay, so going on, just under the board reports, I wanted to just give announcements and a few. Oh, so sorry, Erica, come on up. I'm so sorry. Did you raise your hand? Oh, sorry, I'm just sitting right there, I shouldn't. Okay, as Erica from the Department of Neighborhood Environment.
She was appalled. She was like, what about me?
No offense. Yeah. Sorry.
Hello, everyone. As mentioned, my name is Erica Dowdy. I support the Central Hollywood Neighborhood Council as well as 7 other neighborhood councils throughout the city of Los Angeles. I'm here with just a few announcements. The first one being similar to last month is I brought some red cards. A lot of talks about ice being in the areas and whatnot. So if anyone is interested, I'll leave them by the pizza so you don't miss it. Pick one up for yourself, pick one up for someone you may know that could use it, as well as for the board. You know, I have a little stack, so in case any one of you would like to distribute those in the community, you will have that there. The next thing I wanted to mention is the NC budget, right? If there isn't a hotter topic than the city's budget, as it relates to the NC budget, I wanted to give a brief update on that if you don't know already. So you should have received an email from the city clerk's office stating, one, we should be expecting a full rollover of this unspent fiscal year funds. That's one thing. The second thing is that it is still being proposed that the NC budget is 25,000. However, it is pending consideration. So I'm still waiting to hear back if whether or not the NC will receive 25,000 or be restored back to its 32,000. So as soon as I hear more, then I will be sure to let you all know. Next thing I wanted to mention is just that we're preparing for our new board next month. So I've sent out emails to board members that I have on my list, introducing myself. Yes. Hello, Tamara. Introducing myself, but also I will be putting together the updated roster. So you all should be receiving, if you're completely new to the system, you will be receiving an email with your trainings of what needs to be taken. We're trying to get a step ahead on that so that way come July, you were all set and hopefully you were able to take your trainings. Next is the strategic plan. You've heard me talk about this in the past couple of months. I was doing my best to get you all that strategic plan this month. I don't have that. However, I will have it to you all before the July meeting. So please keep a lookout for your email in regards to that. Just a refresher, the strategic plan is only a jumping board for the board to use to help better address the community needs. I base a lot of the initiatives on my observations and my understandings of what is the board's interest, but I also use a handful of databases that the city has to offer. So I looked at the My LA 311 database. What is the most requested service being requested in this area? I looked at also the crime reports that LAPD issued. They do it per region. So I share that information with the board to see if there's any interest in making some initiatives as it relates to what is being reported as the highest crime. I also use things like our CIS dashboard, right? As being a part of the neighborhood council system, you are able to write what we call community impact statements. So I'm looking at this dashboard to see how many CISs has Central Hollywood submitted and how does that compare to other NCs within the region? There's no quota whether we should be hitting a certain number, but I think it is important to look at to see, hey, maybe we're missing a few things that are coming before city council that we should be drawing more attention to. All that being said, I'll leave it up to the board next month on if you would like me to present or if you would like to discuss this at an executive committee, whatnot, but I will have that for you before next month's meeting. Aside from that, those are all the announcements.
That sounds great. What questions do we have for Eric?
Well, the excitement, that sounds exciting. I really want to see how many CIS is all the, just this, I was talking to Coulter from East Hollywood.
Okay.
And I think he's gonna be really interested also in those numbers. So excited.
Yeah, I mean, this is all publicly available.
It's just
Sometimes it's a
website?
matter of not, it's on our department website, but sometimes it's a matter of not being able to find that information, not knowing how to filter that information. So in my suggestions, I also provide the link so that way you know where I'm pulling that information from and you can play around with these databases on your own.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Do we raise our hand for questions or?
Oh, yeah, if you're ready. Oh, wait, just like board real quick. Anyone on the board have a question for Erica? See no hands? Yes, sir.
Several databases that you pull from. Can you make that available? How do we access that before? Because I know the next meeting is a month.
That's right, yes. So as I've mentioned, a lot of these databases are offered by the city. In the strategic plan that I put together, I link all of the resources and PDFs, so you will have that available. But I'm also happy to meet with any of the board members saying like, hey, I know you provided this link. I'm not sure how to filter this information, so it's just Central Hollywood. I'm happy to meet with you one-on-one to kind of go through that. But yes, I'm happy to share that directly.
Any other questions?
Online.
Okay, I see no hands, so we'll go online. Okay, up to 1 minute, please. Audit LA.
Hi, Erica. I want to talk about the public works and how it's really next to impossible for any kind of dialogue with the neighborhood councils, because it's not like the city council where it goes up through committees and all this stuff. So I know that Barbara, I can't think of her last name right now, and others are, always very concerned about that they never get to speak as a council to give a CIS, that they always have to do it as themselves because there's just no time. And it's not fair to the neighborhood councils. And I was wondering, because, let's just say we're probably going to be working, I'll be working harder on those issues in the near future. So, but that's something that really needs to be looked at, the public works. It's not.
This meeting is being recorded.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to say, one of the things that the council member could do is have, as well as the neighborhood councils themselves, but is you could have somebody, they could do an outreach from Mahia's office and have a staffer or some other staffer within the council member's office to work with the neighborhood councils as it relates to budget, rather than just expecting them just sort of figure it out. Number two, right, I'd love to hear the council members' stance on all the homelessness fraud that's been happening, particularly at the city level, and the fact that several of the board members within the council right now are actually on the same nonprofits that have been responsible for committing the fraud.
Thank you for your comments. All right, I think there's no other hands, so that's it, right? Okay, wonderful. Okay, so under board executive reports, I like to do something where I give away a t-shirt for Central Hollywood Neighborhood Council. This is what it looks like. It's a beautiful heather gray. They're usually white, quite largest, but you can wear it as a pajama shirt. In order to get this beautiful t-shirt, you must answer the question correctly, and all of you get to play. So here's the question to win this this month. What is the only city in the world that has hosted the Olympics for a profit, like actually did not be a deficit? And you guys can't answer, I'm sorry. Yes, sir. Correct, but it's a two-part question. And this part might be more impressive, but yes, we are the only city who has hosted the Olympics who has made a profit. And bear with me, there's a reason why I'm going here. Now, how much of a profit do you think we made in the 1984 Olympics? Venture a guess, anyone? No wrong answers. What profit did we make? Was it like $10? Was it 10 million? What was it?
Well, the dollar used to be worth a lot more back in 1984.
How much?
Billion.
More. 20 million. More. Let's give the city a shout out. How much money did we make in 1984?
1884?
1984. How much? More.
7.
More.
100.
More. $215 million.
Wow.
He's keeping the shirt.
Look at the shirt. No, you still got the. But why does this matter? Why does it matter, guys, that we made $215 million from the Olympics? Why does it matter? Because we can do it again. That's why.
Okay, all right.
That's in your shirt, sir. But it doesn't mean we can't make the Olympics in 2028. We can't make $1 off it. We can make $200 million off it. I don't care about what you said about the dollar being worth whatever it was worth in 84, 1 year before I was born. I'm saying we can do it again. So that's why I brought that up. And that'll obtain with the budget we're going to talk about. So any questions? Okay.
Where's Peter Uberoff?
Excuse me?
Where's Peter Uberoff?
Who's
He's
that?
the guy that ran the Olympics.
Did a good job. Is he still alive? We should hire that
I
guy.
think so.
So leads me to Budget Day was this past weekend. Budget Day is an opportunity to talk about that fiscally responsible thing that we all do, which is paid for city services, get to afford our union contracts, et cetera, et cetera. Now that $1 billion budget I was telling you about, the deficit I was telling you about, we've actually balanced our books. We balanced our books, but it wasn't for the cost of $0. There's like 1,400 vacancies in the city and they would not be filled. So no harm, no foul, right? And there's about 600 that are going to be laid off. I think it was 600 or 800, one of those numbers, 600 that's going to be laid off. But the biggest takeaway, other than, hey, we can make money in the Olympics and hey, we're doing these layoffs is what is the general fund? Do y'all know what the general fund is? That's what pays for the city to run, really. And how do you think we got money into our general fund? Like what are our revenue sources? Anyone want to guess?
Tickets.
Tickets, like parking tickets? No, but fees at parking meters, yes. So when you pay for your the parking garages. So yes, kind of, but not tickets. Anyone else? Taxes. Okay, what kind of taxes? Could it be
Sales tax.
sales taxes? Yes. What do you think the biggest one is in the tax? Property tax, that's right. Property tax is the biggest tax that we get that punches into the revenue fund, the revenue into the general fund and pays for our services. Business tax in order for you all to start and myself to run our business. Transient occupancy tax, all the hotels that are going to be suffering with the new $30 per hour minimum wage fee. All of this goes into the general fund. So when I hear that this is the revenue, the 7 revenue that go into the general fund, and I see to myself, property tax, business tax, utility tax, sales tax, transient occupancy tax, document transfer tax, parking users. What are they all 7 are pretty heavily reliant on what? Business, commerce, merchants, things I don't think we actually really put emphasis on in the city. Small business, middle-sized business, large business. I mean, they help fund the city and we don't really talk about that much. What do we talk about? And what do people, I was just elected to go to the Democratic Convention. It was in Anaheim. I'll be going back in February to Sacramento. You know what this is about. My biggest takeaway from going to the Democratic Convention and the Democrats is it's union run and it's union led. And the unions are great. But that's not all it is, right? I want to talk about small business, middle business, large business, and just remember those guys and their taxes that they pay into our general fund. So, end rant, just wanted to let you know, when I see Budget Day, when I go to the Democratic Convention, I don't think enough people are talking about business. And that's a shame. That's a shame. I think more people need to support small business because small businesses turn into middle-sized businesses, turn into large businesses, and then y'all can start hating them because everyone hates big business. Unfortunately, but it's kind of like biting the hands that feed you.
Unethical big business.
Unethical big business, but mostly they're like a lot of big businesses that folks don't like, I think. Like, for example, I'll give you an example. When Walgreens left RCHNC.
Dr. Bronner's.
Oh, you mean the shampoo?
Uh-huh.
Do they have a physical space though?
Because I believe they do, because they have ethical policies where the CEO does not make more than 5 times its lowest paid employee. They have employee benefits, profit sharing, all of those things that if every big business maintained an ethical practice like that, I don't think people would hate big business. They hate unethical practices, not business in general.
Yeah. Well, when Walgreens left our neighborhood, no one really cried about it. When Walgreens left our neighborhood, no one really cried about it. But that was our local pharmaceutical, for example, like to get your meds. So I'm just saying, trickle down, jobs lost, pharmacy lost. not all big business is bad business. Yeah, there's a lot of bad business. But there's a lot of big business.
I wouldn't call Walgreens ethical, but I mean, it does impact the community when the only, we're gonna get into a larger conversation about like monopolies and why do we only have CVS and Walgreens to choose from? Why can't we have local pharmacy? We should have a local pharmacy, but we can't because Walgreens and CVS have a monopoly that makes it impossible for a local. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts here that I'm just saying. It's the lack of ethics that people hate, not business in general. I'm just trying to clarify.
And I'm not talking about ethics of business. I'm just talking about sales tax revenue. This is a revenue conversation, but I'm trying to say is our budget from Budget Day and Democratic Convention. I'm just talking about jobs and people who pay taxes. And that goes into our revenue stream, into our general fund, which is lacking, right? So what's problematic is that where COVID went like this, and then there was a whole bunch of money that was put into it. So it kind of went like this, but then it didn't go like this, right? It kind of went back down, right? And so the problem is, where's the revenue? That's why I'm talking about the Olympics. I'm just trying to go full circle here. We need revenue. That means we need to support our small businesses. That's why I am a proponent of vacancy tax, because vacancies do not equal any taxes or employment or beautification. And so I just, so my last meeting, I just want to say how important it is to support your local businesses, because there is so much that they bring to a neighborhood, so that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying that good, big ones are good, or the middle ones are good. There's a lot of shitty small ones too, but they provide revenue. They provide revenue, just a budget question. Okay, so that was my update on that on the agenda. I wanted to tell you that I got to march in the Gay Pride with Assembly Member Rick Support. That was awesome. Glad that Gay Pride is back in Hollywood, in addition to We Hope, but it's back in Hollywood. Whoop, whoop. CD13 got a chance to meet with Hugo Soto Martinez. I wrote a letter on the vacancy tax I was just telling you about, and again, how much like Hollywood Boulevard really could use it, because it looks like a closed down ghost town, frankly. And basically it didn't go through on the Senate floor, like it just basically died in suspense, which is fine because by the time everybody ate at it, it didn't have any teeth, as you may have heard me say last month. But Hugo Soto Martinez said, I got something you might like. He says that he's going to propose kind of like a vacancy tax for Hollywood, and kind of like stay tuned. And I did hit up Anais to find out if that's coming up. But anyway, look out for that. It's like a local incentive, call it, to open the doors. And I support that, because if we're going to make any socialist policy, that's one that I'm after, actually. I actually support that one.
Socialist policy?
I don't support all of them, but I support that one.
What did you just mention?
If you taxing a business to stay open. The free market isn't that, right? The opposite of a government required task, like whether, hey, you have to stay open, or else it's a bit like top-down government. Free market or libertarian is like, leave me alone, it's my property. You can't tell me what to do on it.
No, I'm sorry. I'm familiar with this. So who's proposing to tax businesses?
Hugo Soto Martinez, CD13.
And what is it? An operations tax?
Yeah, basically, in order to get open.
To incentivize the business to stay open?
To get open, because it's not open. Remember that vacancy tax we talked about last month? Were you here for that? Mm-hmm. It's kind of, that was like supposed to be, it's for landlords. It's supposed to be like a state project, but that died. But I wrote that letter. He was like, look, I read your letter, actually in an agreement. I'm going to put this together. And I was like, all right, let's go. So look out for that. I can't tell you what council file it is. I can't really tell you the name. He just was like, I hear you. We're going to work on this. So I'm putting that on the radar. That's it. Okay. So that was that meeting. Budget Day I told you about. Yeah, I think those are my reports. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Do you know if the short-term rentals are being taxed?
Well, the transit occupancy tax that goes into the revenue does collect from that as well. So is that a revenue question?
They collect.
There's a portal for the transit occupancy tax that you go in monthly and you write it in, or there's some websites that just automatically collect it from the guest. And that goes into the general fund, kind of like paying your property tax or paying, because that goes through the county assessor, and then it just goes for the fund as well. But the general fund needs a bump. And that's kind of what we're talking about for like next year and the year. There's a projection that it does go up if there's no recession. That's like a huge like asterisk. Like if there's no recession, we might be okay in, what did they say, 2028, 9? I forget I don't know if you remember which year. He said we'll be cushy if there's no recession. Big asterisk. Yes, sir. You had your hand up?
I think that was a great point that you brought up about small businesses, medium-sized businesses. Is there a branch here that deals with that? Do we have any programs or incentives or things we're working on or have? This is my first meeting, I can't believe it. It's my first meeting, so very busy meetings, dealing with such topics, doing anything like that.
I would say probably the Hollywood Partnership or supposed to be the Chamber of Commerce, but I'd say our Hollywood Chamber is weak personally. But yeah, those are the two places. If you're a business owner or you want representation from the businesses, there's also yeah, I see the Hollywood Partnership does an amazing
The
job.
Hollywood Partnership is actually calling for board members right now.
But you have to, here's the problem, owner.
Yeah.
Owner, that's what sucks. Yeah, because I'd love to be on that, but they were like, I was like, yo, am I eligible? And they're like, you don't own property on Hollywood and therefore, because they're paid for by property owners. Little tidbit.
Own property in the city.
To be on their board, but you could totally attend the meetings. Like I attend their meetings all the time. On like an alley committee meeting, and some other stuff, but yeah, the general meetings, but you can't be on the board time unless you own that.
So what's the Chamber of Commerce doing? You said that there's good software.
What they should be doing, but what they are doing is not business. I mean, they represent the people that pay their fees, you know what I'm saying? So like, yeah, if you are maybe that's a different story, but as far as all businesses, until Hollywood Boulevard is open for business, I don't think they're doing anything. Cause that'd be my first priority, is talking to every single landlord, incentivizing or decentivizing vacancies, because we got no revenue coming from there. And then I hear Ovation isn't doing well at Hollywood and Highland, and that's awful, because I remember when they bought that place, you know, and they invited all of us to go to the like beautiful top, you know, like oversight seeing Hollywood Boulevard. They're failing now too, you know, and they had all these big dreams to put local business in there, but it's just really expensive to do business. And like Gwen is shutting down. Gwen on Sunset and that corner, shutting down. Didn't make it. They're heading west. Sad, you know? So I'm just saying a lot of restaurants are making it, but a lot of good restaurants aren't making it. And how do you support that restaurant? It's very expensive. But yeah, Hollywood and Highland not doing great either. Anyway, okay. Any questions for me?
One thought is maybe maybe it's a bigger issue than just Hollywood. I mean, there's a lot of things that I think are kind of slowing down. And I mean, what's the cause of that? I think one of the other presenters had mentioned that earlier. I mean, it could be everything from, big national policies. Maybe some of that's affecting the businesses. Look at our own selves.
Because Rite Aid shut down from a national state. Rite Aid is bankrupt, second time.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hear you. That's gone onto your pharmacy point, you know?
I'll let you answer that, right?
Is it the real estate? What is it? $4 a square foot to
Market rate.
to rent out a property? My goodness.
It all goes back to private equity owning everything.
And that's
like
the issue.
business owners can't afford to can't afford their properties. The cost of goods is going up. People are making less money and they can't afford to patronize, and the businesses know that they can't raise their prices because business is already down. But it all goes back to.
I agree. Not own in here, but that's personal opinion. It's your opinion too, probably. Like China shouldn't own in Hollywood, in my opinion. You know, I think Hollywood should own Hollywood, but you know, I don't know if the state should own Hollywood either. I think what China owns, there's a lot of people like foreign entities that own real estate here.
Okay, real estate.
Real estate.
I wouldn't say, okay.
What did I say?
I said, he said China owns Hollywood.
Real estate. That's Hollywood real estate. No, not the city of Hollywood. Hollywood Boulevard is my main focus. It is so vacant.
I agree with you on that. Like, it would be amazing to
walk and have open, you know, shops. There's a new vinyl shop that's open on Hollywood Boulevard. I was like going in, I was like, bless you. Thank you for being here. Like, oh, sure. Not pressure. But anyway. So any other questions before I move on? Yeah.
One thing I was thinking about with your experience at the convention in Anaheim.
Mm-hmm.
I know you were saying that unions, I think the unions certainly have a lot of influence, but they also do have a small business committee and things like that. I mean, maybe it doesn't quite.
Unions. So the other thing, you know, budget day, one of the problems, another thing with our revenue stream is the unions have contracts with the city. They give you 48 hours to review the contract and then it's done. And we are, there's a city, have to pay these really high contract fees. There was an amazing question that day, and there was a union leader that refused to answer it. And the question was, we're in a budget deficit. Are union leaders willing to come to the table and take a haircut so that we can keep some of these 600 people employed? Crickets. Because the answer is no. Because the answer is like, you sign on the dotted line, we're keeping cushy. you guys can deal with your problems and staffing. Hey, you didn't make enough revenue in 24, 23, not our problem. Just unions are very expensive and they sign deals and, you know, they walk and
Well, it might be in perspective, I mean, because, I mean, maybe I'm a little biased. I'm a member of a union. Right. So, I mean, it's maybe a little.
But we're SAG, right? So we're unions too.
Yeah.
I mean, SAG gets us great jobs, but non-union does more opportunities and less, yeah, sorry, I hear you. Technically, I'm union too.
I feel like you're gonna resign and be like, I'm a Republican now.
You know, the more I'm around here, the more I become moderate. I will say that much, you know? But look, because no one talks about business, you know? Everyone talks about the other side, but, you know. It's funny, isn't it?
I just think you're pointing the blame at the wrong
Sales
person.
tax.
It's not unions.
Sales tax.
It's the people that are making it impossible for small, medium business to thrive.
Yeah.
Hey, I mean,
There's a lot
Well,
of.
guys,
okay,
gals.
but let me ask something. I went to Pride and I was inundated by people trying to get me to sign a piece of paper that I feel that they feel that I should sign to make hospitality workers $30 an hour. And I said to them, what about bus drivers? What about teachers? What about entertainers? Like, why is it just the hospitality? You know, I don't know. That's what it is today, huh?
They're pushing for all.
Yeah, but that piece of paper was just hospitality. My point is, I talked to my friends who own Dream Hotel, Tommy and Godfrey, and they go, do you want Hilton to own everything? Because that's what you're gonna do. Do you want every coffee shop to be Starbucks? Because that's what you're gonna do. This is him telling me he owns these hotels. Because he says, well, $30 let me tell you what $30 an hour is gonna do to me. Out of 8, like let's say there's 30 employees, I'll be 15 now. As soon as I can get those AI bots, I'll be employing them. I'm just saying it's short-sighted. It's short-sighted because, well, first of all, why just hospitality? You know, because again, you're just gonna go corporate on everything. The one thing you don't like. I'm just saying, what all for all and all for, or none for none. Hospitality is upset, you know, because they're like, we had COVID travel ban, then we had wildfires. Nobody wants to come to LA. They can't get a break. But he gets a refund $1 million a month for a month of refunds for wildfires. And this is a real guy I talked to who owns Dream Hotel. I'm not even saying, I think I read this on Reddit. I'm telling you, this is legit, but nobody feels bad for them.
I feel bad for them.
Thank you.
We feel bad for them.
Okay, I have a question.
What I'm saying is, it's not the workers who are demanding a livable wage that we should be
It's the
pointing a finger
unions.
at. It's the operational costs. It's the reason that if
Operational costs.
they have
Tamara,
operational
Tamara,
costs.
let me ask you this specifically.
The other Republican.
Comment
I'm just kidding.
on livable wage.
We're taking over.
I'm not a Republican.
What is livable
Yeah,
wage?
she is.
Does that mean that you're working and living in the same area?
Yes,
And like within a 15, kind of like the concept of you
being
can,
able to afford your housing.
You guys want to do
Being able to
alcohol?
afford your housing, your food, you know what a livable wage is.
no, I just want to confirm that our definition is the same.
Yeah.
The thing is that there's a lot of entry level roles, right? That are created that previously were going to people who are very actually that are living and stuff like that. And so now what's happening is that as people are getting laid off, as people are going to more alternative lifestyles of affordability, right? They're now expecting those entry level jobs to be paying them livable wages. But previously that livable wage wasn't expected from this entry level
It
job.
depends on, you know, I think we're getting off on a tangent here because we're gonna waste an hour. I mean, I don't think we should.
Let's waste 2.
We have to get granular about this, like which jobs in particular, because if you're talking about a Starbucks, if you're talking about every single corporation that is taking over everything, they absolutely can pay a livable wage. They choose not to because their executive boards and their shareholders make an exorbitant amount of money every year over year. I think we're all in agreement that businesses should thrive. Businesses should have the opportunity to make a profit and be able to pay their workers a livable wage. We would all want that. The problem is not that you can't blame the worker for wanting $30 an hour when their rent is $3,000 a month. What you need to blame is the fact that all of our goods and services are far more expensive than they've been for a variety of reasons that we can all go into, but it all ultimately comes down to the billionaire class that is making, monopolies are taking over, price gouging at every single level. That is what is to blame, not
Is thriving, and yet Irwan opened 7 locations because it makes no sense. Tamara, what you're saying is accurate, but Irwan is killing it.
But I think you touched on something.
Sorry.
What's driving up the livable wages, right? What's driving it up?
Cost of rent.
What's driving the cost? What's driving up?
We don't have enough housing for the amount of people that live in this city.
Well, what's
And that's one thing. That's one
the
thing.
cost of grocery growing up? That's not a living wage question.
What is the reason that groceries are the price that they are?
Not living wage. I mean, not rents.
I'm asking you, so what is your opinion of the reason that groceries are what they are?
Rising one part of it is rising wages at the distribution centers. Part of it is. Part of it is.
It's corporate greed.
Track, you guys.
Corporate greed.
I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay. Crystal's done. Crystal's done. Okay, on track. Sorry. Yeah.
It's not just the business, but what's driving the prices up.
Okay, so.
Corporate greed.
Well, can I just say this thing? We're an advisory committee, so we're gonna make some advice somewhere, right?
No, I was just giving a public report, that's all.
Okay,
And then
gotcha.
Charles is asking me about one thing, and then we just started talking
Gotcha.
about that. Okay.
So let's advise.
I don't think anything from VP, Secretary, Treasurer, because nothing on here.
Swear on Michael now.
What? I didn't know, Erica didn't mention it. Does she want to do that now?
I thought you were.
Do you want to swear him in? I thought you were gonna mention that maybe during your thing. Did you want to swear Michael in real quick?
Yeah, but I
Want to
mean,
do that? Because,
the seat is vacant and.
Oh, hold on, we have 2 hands up. That was
but that was
something.
for my, just
That wasn't something.
report,
Okay.
not really.
So.
Bye, Maria, see you. Bye.
So I think that's
So
something
I think
comment
it's this
on.
because we're gonna be voting, and Michael told me that he finished all his like stuff, like his clear house, whatever it's called. You know, cornerstone. So could he vote if you swear him in right now?
Sure.
Okay,
I mean.
is that cool? I know I didn't really prep you for that.
Seat on the board, right? That
He took it.
satisfies.
You took it last month. So he took it last month, but I thought maybe you wanted to certify him, but he already took his tests.
Sure, I can read the oaths and then you can repeat after me, so if you give me a second and pull it up,
Sorry, I should have given you a heads up on that. Do you want to start talking about the administrative packet, or do you want to wait for that, or how much time?
Are you sure we don't take
Oh, nine.
are you sure we don't take a public comment on the report?
Do I have to take a public comment on my report?
I mean, you can, you kind of went into a discussion and all that, so usually when you give a report, it's just one way.
Yeah,
There's a
that's
lot
what
of
I thought.
conversation, and we did take public comment in person.
Do you want me to take the online? Okay, I can take a minute.
Oh, there we go.
I don't have to answer it.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's do it.
We'll go audit.
I don't have a comment on, Alvina's report. I just want to do public comment and then maybe other agenda items.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so
Okay,
we'll do next.
And then nine, no, and then there's one more behind that, and then we'll go to nine because we're gonna talk about the budget and finance.
Henry, sir?
Thank you. I appreciate it. Interesting report. I just want to formally extend, I'm going by the saying, new budget, new me. And if this board is ever interested on it, if anybody in particular is ever interested, I'd be happy to do a free How to Read Budgets 101, talking about bonds and other sorts of budget-related matters. And likewise, if anybody here is either in their individual capacity or in their official capacity interested in going for, air quotes, a ride-along on certain city news and other ongoings regarding legislative action and policy and other accountability-related matters within the city, I'd be happy to share many stories I have and actually get you a real-life, day in the life of a glimpse on people who are actually going on this. Not theory, not anything made up, but actual real-life people. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So now that I've done the,
Thanks, Henry.
we've done elected officials, we did board reports, we're gonna go to general public comment, and then we're gonna go down to budget and finance and then doing this. Give me 1 second. So, okay, we have one. Do we have anybody here for public comment? That's up to 2 minutes to talk about anything on the agenda. Okay, I see no hands. Okay, then online.
Audit.
Yes, hey, everyone. Always good to bump in the sunshine at City Hall. I love it. But I'm here to talk about Hollywood Boulevard. Almost 2 years ago now, the protest started against the abuses of Scientology. It's not against their religion, it's against the abuses that they do. And we noticed that there's a real uptick again, like they're trying to recruit again. I'm concerned because they recruit people who are from different countries, and they traffic in here and hold their documents. That's proven fact. And very concerned that they are back to their same shenanigans, although they do sneak it because they see, like when William Good goes out there, I mean, it's become such a phenomenon worldwide. I was there the other day with him, and I think around 12, maybe 15 people stopped and like, oh my God, that's, they know him. And I'm glad that the awareness is going out. But really, we need the local government to stop the abuses, to do the investigations, to ask the tough questions. Like, why are they supplying LAPD with all this, cameras and all this stuff? Are they helping with all this ICE raids? We don't, because, with all their cameras and all these other things. So we need, the people are getting it. Worldwide, they're getting it. We need the local government to get it. The abuses have to stop. They have to live within the law. I don't know how much time I have left, Sunshine, but that's what we need you to do. And from the neighborhood council level all the way up, there's like when I had a Father's Day protest at the Big Blue this weekend. I mean, they did such petty things like move the porta potty to, there's such a church, but they moved the porta potty a half block down the road. They harassed us with music that is copyrighted. And it was peaceful. Ours was loving. It was someone who wanted to sing to their father who's stuck in there. And just all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's.
Henry, have 2 minutes, please.
So just to echo on some of Audit LA's points, my background really, as much as I dislike all the criminal crap that Scientology does, the whole goal of why I even got involved in the first place was to use Scientology to actually smoke out who all of the government agents were actually colluding, and then get their real names, get them on the record as committing their criminal acts, and then prosecute them as such, right? That's my actual background, particularly in outing out fraud and corruption, all right? Fraud in particular. And so really what the true message here is, how much more is the city of LA going to fail its residents, it's going to fail its constituents by allowing, despite the clear and constant pleadings to various agencies, especially on my behalf, I've literally gone to every city agency, committee, and state ones as well, neighborhood councils as well, talking about the fact that you have a presiding city attorney admitting on the record that she's doing political favors for Scientology to prosecute anybody, and literally anybody, that dares criticize her political allies, Scientology being one of, and charging them with frivolous criminal charges. That's what you have at your local government level, right? And so the question at the end of the day is this: what is this neighborhood council going to do about it? Right? When any one of you dare speak out against any of the unions, any of the nonprofits, and the city attorney comes after you, or the DA comes after you, what are you going to do about it, right? Is that the kind of LA that you want? Is that the kind of environment that you want your kids to grow up in, that you want your friends and family to grow up in? What are you going to do about the fact that the city is being poisoned by the prosecutor's office because they do political favors for criminal rings like Scientology? That's the real question here, and that's why I got involved. Thank you.
Yes, let's do it. Come on up.
Yes.
Yes, you do that. Okay, great.
Repeat after me.
Sorry.
I pledge to represent my neighborhood with dignity, integrity, and pride.
Pledge to represent my neighborhood with dignity, integrity, and pride.
I will encourage other points of view even when they differ from my own.
I will encourage other points of view even when they differ from my own.
I will respect, value, and consider everyone's opinion.
I will respect, value, and consider everyone's opinion.
I will find the good in my neighborhood.
I'll find the good in my neighborhood.
And praise it and promote it.
And praise it and promote it.
To my neighbors.
To my neighbors.
And to the neighborhoods throughout the city of Los Angeles.
And to the neighborhoods throughout the city of Los Angeles.
I pledge to do this to the best of my ability.
I pledge to do this to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Never gang.
Okay, next up, we are going to talk about our administrative packet. So I'll start by making a motion that we approve the 2025-2026 Central Hollywood Neighborhood Council administrative packet. Is there a second so we can have discussion on the motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Charles. Would you mind bringing up on the screen the administrative packet?
If I knew how, then yes, I could.
If you go on the agenda, it is linked on the agenda.
See, you think the agenda is here somewhere?
Oh, it's like invisible. If you do the mouse all the way over, you can see it on the screen.
Ah, gotcha. Sorry. Okay, I see. What am I doing here?
Scroll down
Gotcha.
and then click on that hyperlink.
This one?
Yep.